In the 80s, people took it to the streets. They shouted, "Nuclear power? No thanks." Our planet has been warming up rapidly for decades. Everyone is talking about a change for clean energy, and we've been leading the way for almost 30 years. With new ideas and new technologies, and we are becoming more and more every day. Our promise? Energy, heat, and mobility. Clean and sustainable, simple, and made for generations. That's what drives us, on and on. With sunny greetings from Dresden. We don't wait for the future, we shape it. Together with you, with our partners, and our customers, for a better tomorrow. We are Solarwatt.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear representatives of the press, my name is Jens Secker, and I'm highly pleased to welcome you to today's digital press conference right from the Solarwatt storage production site. Today's event is titled Photovoltaics and E-Mobilities are Converging. Let me point out that all people, everyone you see here are, of course, tested against corona and have a negative result. Climate change is the challenge of this time. It is a threat to the existence of at least 2 billion people worldwide. The term climate change is, of course, very abstract, and this is why let me give you a concrete example. If heating is really to rise by 3 degrees up to 2030, the sea level up to 2050 will have risen 0.5 meter if this happens, and it might rise by 2 to 3 meters up until 2100. Also in Europe, the increase in the sea level would have a massive impact. Think of cities like Amsterdam, Hamburg, Bremen, and London. 45% of the global population will, at plus 3 degrees, exposed to deadly heat for many days a year, beyond the threshold of survivability. And this will happen if we do not drastically reduce carbon emissions. But how do we do that? What can help is distributed energy systems. A photovoltaic unit for single-detached homes, including storage, can cover up to 80% of electricity needs in a single-detached home, allowing for massive carbon reduction. And now, Solarwatt is even taking one step farther, ensuring that also heat can be generated at home and the e-car can be driven with solar electricity. Today, we show again that holistic thinking is part of our DNA. We plan to even more closely couple and optimize the various sectors of energy and industry. This is what Stefan Quandt says, main shareholder of Solarwatt. And we are going to show you today how this can work. Let me briefly guide you through the agenda and present the participants. We'll begin with the part Solarwatt Heading for Growth with CFO Sven Böhm and CTO Dr. Armin Froitzheim. This will be followed by CEO Detlef Neuhaus with a presentation under the headline Solarwatt Improving Itself. And the next part is Solarwatt Cooperate with BMW, also with Dr. Froitzheim and Detlef Neuhaus. This is followed by the Q&A, for which we will welcome Dr. Armin Froitzheim and Sven Böhm and Detlef Neuhaus, plus Dr. Wollersheim, Mr. Merdon, and also two press spokesmen of the BMW Group, Bernhard Ederer and Kai Zöblin. Greetings to Munich. Hello, everyone. Hello. Good morning. And here's another comment on the Q&A itself. Below the live stream, you see a Q&A tool. If you're in full screen mode, leave full screen mode, scroll down a bit, and then you can key in your questions directly during the whole event. This will then, after the presentation, be answered by the gentleman here and also from Munich. And another little comment, if there's anything going wrong with this Q&A tool, we have a plan B. We have the address questions@solarwatt.com. This is an address we have set up where there you can also enter your questions. Another comment on the agenda and the invitation, we had originally announced that we will have a deep dive on the new solar storage generation of Solarwatt. We won't do that, but we take the elements from this deep dive right into the main presentation. And also the questions on the storage can already be asked here now and directly. And I thereby pass the floor to CFO Sven Böhm. Thank you very much, Mr. Secker. Ladies and gentlemen, Solarwatt has for a few years on a steady upward trend of growth. 2019, up to that year, we grew on an average 13%, but since then there was a clear acceleration. Solarwatt has since then grown at a rate of 26% per year. The relative growth doubled, therefore, and this trend is fully intact. In the past year, the sales were raised to 121 million, and in the year to come, we want to move up to 140 million. In the months between January and May, we have already outperformed the plan distinctly, which makes us confident that in 2025, the 450 million euro sales threshold can really be hit. So the two strongest months in sales in the history of the company, March and May, every time over 30 million, is this year. And also the employees, the number of employees is growing. End of 2019, 400 people worked for Solarwatt. Today, this is over 500 already, and it will become even more if we manage to find staff quickly enough and hire them. Up until 2025, around 1,000 people are to work for Solarwatt. Overall, the solar industry, again, I may say, an engine for employment. Up until 2030, in the German photovoltaics and storage industry, over 50,000 new jobs are to be created, from 30,000 today, moving up to 80,000. The further internationalization is also part of our DNA. The share of the international sales has for years been constant, between 40 and 50%. The focus of growth with locally adjusted strategies include Benelux, Spain, France, Italy, Scandinavia, Australia, mostly with their own branches or with strong partners on site, like in Northern Europe. In spring this year, we therefore set up a new branch in the UK against the Brexit trend, but with the market. Overall, Solarwatt will invest more than 100 million euros up until 2023, much of that in our production sites and product development. But also the digitalization of product solutions has high priority. This is a clear commitment to Germany as a site for industry, to made in Germany and also to developed in Germany, and to ecological and social responsibility of our company. The German solar industry is still alive. It relies on innovation and, as in our case, on an overall systemic concept. In what technologies we invest under this 100 million package, this will be explained by my colleague, Dr. Armin Froitzheim. Armin, over to you. Thank you, Sven. Right. Since 1992, we have relied on Germany as a site for business. Here in Dresden, we are commissioning our 8th production line this year. And this year, we invest 15 million euros in this line. In August this year, the first half-cell modules will be produced by Solarwatt. Also in early 2022, we will expand our research and development department. Here we invest in pilot manufacture, also for solar modules, to be faster in marketing and developing our products. Our battery storage products have also been produced in Germany since the first day. This also applies to this new storage concept. The development of battery storage takes place in the Solarwatt industries in Köln-Hürth. The cell batteries are produced by Webasto on our behalf, an international automobile supplier that is located in Bavaria. And the final assembly of the system again takes place at this site, in this hall in Dresden. The product development for this system cost us over 20 million euros. Also, our energy management system, Flex, Manager Flex, is produced here in Germany. close coupling with transport, regional manufacturing chains. This is what we set great store by. And how Solarwatt improves itself, this will be presented by Detlef Neuhaus, sorry. So we see ourselves as pioneers at Solarwatt. It was very early 2012 that we left the mass market. That is the truly return and driven market. We adopted a systemic approach and specialized in the residential, that is homeowners market, and the small commercial, small businesses segment. And we said the incentive to buy a photovoltaic system must first of all be that the sense and meaning are recognized, reducing cost, having certainty in planning, and also being environmentally friendly. Today, I think we can say that we are a well-established system provider. The next logical step will then, of course, be sector coupling. On the one hand, there's e-mobility, which now, with a lot of might, is pushing into the market, and on the other hand, there is heat. If you take a look at an average PV unit in a single detached home, or take a first look at the consumption of electricity in an average single detached home, you will get, depending on the situation on site, roughly to 4,000 kilowatt hours energy. You need for the electricity side about 15,000 kilowatts for heat, and in this case, of course, with fossil fuels. And on the mobility side, this is roughly 9,000 kilowatt hours. If the electricity side is optimized and first of all a PV unit is installed, then it's possible, again, this is just average values, then roughly 1,200 kilowatt hours can be used by the dwellers themselves. Of course, you generate more, but this will be fed into the system, and this gives a 4% carbon reduction. If you expand that by including storage, the self-produced part will raise up to 80%, and 3,200 kilowatt hours can be generated and consumed oneself, and the carbon reduction will increase to 11%. So thereby, however, the electrical side has been fully exhausted in terms of its potential. No real savings will be possible anymore. So this takes us to sector coupling, and let me explain why we have to go there. If fuel oil or gas is replaced by a heat pump, instead of the 15,000 kilowatt hours, you will immediately just need 3,800 kilowatt hours, and the carbon savings will immediately rise to 51%. If you go further along this way, heat pump plus PV, the carbon savings will rise once more, namely to 58%. And if you expand that to mobility, that is, you don't drive a diesel or gasoline car anymore, but an electric car, the carbon savings will rise to 82%. This, in turn, optimizes, and if this is combined with PV, the CO2 saved amounts to 89% in a single detached home. Now, what does that mean? You see it behind me. If this potential can be tapped into, we're talking about a potential of 160 million tons of CO2, which we can save in single detached homes. Yes, if you ask experts, one may have calculated 170 million, the other one 150 million, but this is not what matters. It's just a huge number that matters. And let me give you some more information. We've got 16 million single-detached homes in Germany, and of these, many will be suitable for PVs. Some will not, but this will just be a minority. We've got 2 million houses which have already or recently been equipped with PV, and of these 2 million, we estimate that perhaps less than 5% have already implemented this sector coupling. And per house, you've got roughly 10,000 tons of carbon you generate.
In this way, we achieved the 160 million potential savings, because if this potential is really used with combined PV, with sector coupling, e-mobility and heat pump, if all this is combined with a technology that is completely mature. This is not a visionary story. This technology is already available. We offer this. You can buy it today, and they are also economically effective. So you do not have to forego anything because all of a sudden you discovered your ecological consciousness. You save money, you do the right thing, it's economically efficient, and it's mature. And therefore we need sector coupling. And we are convinced this is only possible with strong partners. Of course, we are not the specialist in e-mobility. Instead, we need strong partners because complexity increases. At the heat end, in a few months, I will be able to tell you about this, and at the mobility end. And we are really proud of a very long-standing partnership with BMW that connects us. Both companies have a premium approach. Both companies rely on sustainability, on significant carbon reductions, and both companies quality made in Germany, and both companies have a very profound and sound approach for social responsibility that is also lived authentically. And what you see today is a world's first. And this is a product that is developed by a German premium car maker and an expert for renewable energy. And how it looks if these companies join forces, this is what we are going to show you now. Fantastic. This is our solar battery flex storage system, which is assembled here in this hall. It has a fantastic design. It has a co-branding with BMW E, and it meets highest quality standards. How simple it is to install this system will be shown to you now. Here we have the base that contains the battery management system. And here, the gentleman added the first battery pack with 2.4 kilowatt hours. The system, you can see that the system communicates by the green LED that went on shortly. Then the second battery pack is installed. In this case, too, the green LED goes on and shows that it communicates with the system. And finally, we install the top pack, which looks identical, just as the other battery packs, and also has 2.4 kilowatt hours, and it also indicates that it's now communicating with the system as a whole. Installation, in this case, didn't take much longer than 30 seconds, and you see how simple it is. And this applies to our complete product portfolio that we are now going to roll out. Here we offer the AC1 system. We will further develop the AC3 system and a DC hybrid system. The complete product portfolio can be expanded between 4.8 kilowatt hours and 240 kilowatt hours. So what is now the core of the system? This is the battery. We developed it in cooperation with BMW. Precisely this battery is also installed in electric vehicles from BMW. This is real sector coupling. Sorry. Well, so is the benefit of this cooperation. We have a sustainable procurement in the product chain. We take part in the value chain for the cell price development. And most importantly, the quality. We have a quality product which we developed together with a leading car manufacturer. So let me summarize. We have the competencies of Solarwatt. We combined this with BMW in order to integrate these into the system. This is a fully modular system. It has a deep value chain here locally. Altogether, this offers a contribution towards our sector coupling. And this is the new battery storage system from Solarwatt. This is the battery storage which you should buy. One system we are proud of. Well, fantastic, thank you. So it's really great, we are enthusiastic, and it's really absolutely simple, as you already heard from Dr. Froitzheim. And in reality, every apprentice can do this, but it's really a fantastic product. The energy transition, we think, can only be successful if we make use of all the potentials. And we just said 160 million tons of carbon. And to put it into perspective, 740 million tons in 2020 overall production in Germany. So 160 is a significant number, or the other way around. If we fail to make use of this potential, and if it goes as slowly as before, many people may believe it's fast, but it is too slow, then we will not manage this. So the potential that has not yet been used must be used in future. The future will be electric in any case. So the discussion, I no longer take part in this discussion because it goes without saying that it will be a stationary PV heat management and e-mobility, at least in the medium term, for the next 10 years, plus minus a little bit. And time for excuses is over, and these prevention argument, at night we don't have sunshine. We knew this beforehand, that sun doesn't shine at night, but we do have the technologies that can compensate for this. We know how to handle this, and it is no longer an issue. Climate neutrality in 2045 is not sufficiently committed. Sorry. Germany agreed on this, but it is not sufficiently committed. In order to achieve the goal to maintain 1.5 degrees, we must become climate neutral by 2035. And this is possible, but this is not possible if we continue discussing and arguing against it. It's only possible if we all join forces and if we make use of all these potentials, potential where the technology is in place, potential that is available, that offers something additional and something positive for people, and where we have a very high degree of acceptance among the population. We have no acceptance for coal, and we do not have acceptance for nuclear. We have acceptance for renewable energy. So maybe some people still have to learn this. 100,000 Solarwatt customers worldwide, and the entire team are already working on this. We live it. We are really convinced of this, and we must do this, and we must create a better tomorrow. So let's get started. Well, fantastic, great. Thank you very much, Herr Neuhaus, Herr Böhm, Dr. Froitzheim. Then we already come to the Q&A part of this morning, and we are now completing the round, and we add Dr. Olaf Wollersheim, CEO of Solarwatt Innovation and Chief Developer of Battery Flex, and Merdon for Solarwatt, he's the product manager for the storage area. And we also add the gentleman from BMW, Herr Ederer, Herr Zübelein. Everybody on board, everything works perfect. So first questions have already come. First question comes from Herr General Kuchel for Herrn Neuhaus. Solar panels for home use. The question quickly arises regarding competition from China. Can a German company compete? Well, can a German company compete? Great. We started very early to rely on glass modules, and we also established this element, and we are the market leader in Germany. Nobody buys as many glass products as we do. They are differentiated mainly because instead of a special foil on the backside, they have a glass pane, a special glass pane. And the consequence is that its life is significantly longer, the quality is higher, much higher, and therefore over the lifetime they can use their entire potential, and over 30 years, but at least 30 years, and we give a product and performance warranty for 30 years. And this is our USP compared to Asian manufacturers, not just Asian manufacturers, who can also build modules. That is beyond question. But what is our real USP, as I tried to explain, is our systemic approach of sector coupling, because in single-family home, to use this potential, this can only work if you develop competencies in these areas and if you combine them in an optimal way. And then it may be possible that not every component of the system and not at every moment you are on top and you are the biggest and the greatest, but within the system you are the one who provides the optimum solution competence, and this is our differentiator. Thank you, Herr Neuhaus. Then I forgot a short note. Today we broadcast internationally. We also broadcast to international press colleagues. So questions come in English, and I'm going to ask them in German, English, depending on what's easier for me. But you can answer in German. We have interpreters here for the colleagues. So there's one first question. I think we can be quite brief. The reduction of 160 million tons of carbon, Herr Neuhaus, this refers to the German market. Yes, it refers to the German market. I wasn't clear enough. So Germany as a whole in 2020, it was 740 million tons of carbon. And in single-family homes, around 160 million tons of carbon are generated. And this is the potential that we will reduce and can reduce by 80 or 90%. Then a question to the BMW colleagues from the MDR editorial team. What does BMW expect from the cooperation with Solarwatt? Well, from the BMW and our approach is also to think electric mobility holistically as a precondition for success and from the customer perspective. And the gentleman sometimes mentioned this. At BMW, we also have very ambitious goals with regard to electric mobility. We are planning to have 10 million electric vehicles on the roads until 2030, and this can only work if we offer a holistic and convincing offering to our customer, and products as those presented by Solarwatt are an important building block for this. Thank you, Herr Ederer. I have a question to Herr Froitzheim. It comes from Peter Koller from Energie und Management regarding battery flex. How many modules can be stacked on top? How many modules can be stacked? With our system, depending on which system you are using, you can stack up to 8 or you can stack up to 8 system packs. That is the standard, and you can form clusters, up to 10 clusters together, and this translates into a capacity of 240 kilowatt hours. Great, thank you. Dr. Wollersheim, I have a question from Heiko Weckbrot. He asked, what is the new element in the battery? For many years, you already had an expandable battery storage in your system. This is correct. The new feature is, when you look at it, just take a look at the new system. The new system includes a new design. It is much smaller, much more compact, and much easier to install than the previous system. We systematically looked at the different installation steps, and we eliminated anything that is not absolutely necessary in order to make the installers work as easy as possible. And the result is this perfectly easy to install system. It has a small footprint in the building, and what's also new, We persistently thought modularity to the end. So far, you could use a battery system with different storage capacity, but only for the connection to a PV system. At the input of the PV inverter, this limitation is now limited. As an installer, you can build whatever you want. From the modular system of Solarwatt, you take precisely those modules you need, and you can offer the customer an AC storage, a single-phase, a three-phase storage, a DC hybrid storage, a hybrid inverter, and you can do this in an unprecedented range of battery capacities. This, as far as I see it, is so far unique and absolutely new, and it is a major progress compared to the progress which we so far offered to our customers.
Dr. Wollersheim, please remain here. I've got another question. Let's do that in one go. The modular principle, is that the main difference to systems like the Tesla Powerwall, or where are any other differences? Well, let me say, I would not compare that with each other. Of course, modularity is one key argument, that the storage unit is tailored and can be tailored to the individual needs of the respective household. This has something to do with sustainability and sparing resources. It's not possible that every customer who may just need 9.6 kilowatts can be offered an overdimensioned battery, which in terms of resource use, recycling, etc., has also some detrimental aspects in terms of environment friendliness. Beyond that, there are some more aspects. The Tesla Powerwall, for example, requires active cooling. And in terms of its energy efficiency, it is therefore perhaps not quite so leading in the list of the systems you will find in the market. And in terms of the footprint, it's also quite a different thing. The tech compartments are getting smaller and smaller. Footprint in new buildings costs a lot of money today, at least in Germany. And you also have to spare resources in the household. And our system, in fact, just needs a very, very small footprint to be installed. So you will find many households where competitors' products cannot be fitted solely on grounds of footprint. Thank you very much, Mr. Merdon. Vera Eckhardt of Reuters has filed a question on the battery. How do you see the overall German and European market potential? That is, in terms of sales numbers and sales figures. And in what period of time do you want to achieve that? Thank you very much for this question. In particular, in Germany, we see an extremely quickly growing market, the largest one in Europe as far as battery is concerned, with over 100,000 systems alone last year. And this is why the German market is the most important one for us. But with our European network in sales, we have the possibility, also in the other markets which are attractive for storage, to place our product there. However, in context with our overall systemic approach, that is battery plus PV plus energy management, at least this is the system we want to offer our customers. And in this systemic field, we want to go back to market leadership. Thank you, Mr. Merdon. Let me stay for a moment in this battery flex block. There will be a few more questions, and there are also some other questions which we will contribute later on. Another question to Mr. Wollersheim. This battery, is that about a steady state or stationary second life for batteries of cars? No, definitely this is not the purpose. We don't believe in the account of the second life, at least not in household applications. The customer who, for their household, wants to have a high-quality battery storage, we would not give them just a commodity containing used lithium-ion cells. The reason is that both for quality and for safety reasons, these should actually not become part of a new product. The condition of used batteries from cars can be precisely analyzed only in very difficult ways, and a product that is no longer suitable for use in a car may go into industrial uses if the consumption profile is very precisely known. But in a household where all sorts of things are done with it, we think that brand new high-quality products must be used on which we can give a 10-year warranty as we do it. Okay, one more question to Mr. Merdon. With what inverters can the storage unit work? Well, like Dr. Froitzheim and Dr. Wollesheim have already said, the system must be seen as a modular system, a building kit, which can be used as an AC system independent of an inverter and also as a DC hybrid system, that is, with a DC inverter with which it can be combined. For that, we're talking to several partners, and this is a step we will take in 2022, and then we will inform you about the partners for our marketing move in due time. And supplementary question with AC1, DC3, DC hybrid, what is the timeline with that? Well, with the AC1 system, we will start this year in autumn, and the battery flex portfolio will thereby be marketed. We'll start with that, and in 2022, AC3 systems and hybrid will follow such that the overall portfolio can be rolled out fully. Of course, we will always provide information about the following steps when the time has come. Thank you, Mr. Merdon. Question to Mr. Neuhaus. Again from Peter Koller, Energy Management. What benefits in terms of sector coupling, wall box, and heat pump does the new storage system offer in comparison with other systems? Well, I don't know whether it has already been carved out, but we work with the subcell module of BMW. So what you find in the BMW Mini E, you will also find one-to-one in our products. And what was a bit clashing with regard to the cells was that a stationary house application needs higher cycle stability, and in the field of e-mobility, you can work with lower cycle stability, but you need high power density because you want to reach out quite far. So this used to be clashing a bit, but now our partner not just thinks about that, but it's clear that we're moving into bidirectional charging. So one has to think about e-cars to be charged and discharged more frequently than just for mobility. At the moment, of course, this is not the common application, but I'm convinced that this will be up and coming. And thereby, we need a cell and a cell system that can actually do both things. And this cell can do that. And this is therefore the only system that is equipped this way. Like I said, around the world, there is not one who does it in the same way as we do it. And in this partnership, the cell has been optimized such that both e-mobility and stationary home storage units can be optimally covered. Okay, one more question to Mr. Merdon from Sven Ulrich, Photovoltaics and Renewable Energies. What output power can be reached with the storage unit, and does it depend on the number of battery packs? Well, here I would just like to talk about the AC1 system, which we will market in autumn this year. This system has a nominal output of 6 kilowatts, and this 6 kilowatts will be reached when 8 battery modules are used for the system, that is 19 kilowatt hours. So this means, yes, the power in the end also depends on the number of the battery modules, and it's scaled up to the 6 kilowatt through the number of battery modules. Okay, and there's one more question. Mr. Neuhaus. What are the most important benefits for users of these new generation products of Solarwatt, including battery flex? Do we have some more time? Well, we do. Well, we are, of course, part of a value chain. And for the installers, I mean, this is something we have just seen. It is incredibly easy to install. You don't need to wire anything or lay any lines, and you can get nothing wrong. No mistake can be made in installing this storage unit because the device indicates that if it's correctly installed. So you don't have a chance to wrongly install it. So for the installer, speed, simplicity, and reliability. And for the end client, they, of course, get a high-power device with the benefits they know. Safety, high power, fast processor, speed, everything you know from us has once more been optimized. So I think it's super, super smart. And the most important thing, which also wants to be mentioned, is in the whole industry, when you take a look at storage technology, you will not find anyone who, at the standard of the automotive industry, at this quality standard, has developed a stationary storage unit. And this is what we did. BMW set that as a goal, what quality gates we need to pass successfully. Of course, we did that and jointly, and we're super proud of that we managed to do that. Thereby, the customer can be sure that he has got a super quality product. I've got a few more, but I think this will do. Well, if you have another 2 sentences, let us know. I think that's okay. One question on the topology. Why do you begin with the single-phase storage unit rather than with 3-phase storage units? Well, this question, of course, has to be answered from a customer perspective, because we build the products for the customers, not for ourselves. And it's true to say that we know and see where the speed spot is in the market at the moment as far as topology and the storage sizes are concerned. With the capacity and output, we have the Battery Flex AC1, that is with the single-phase system. We can serve a place in the market where the highest demand is located at the moment. And this is why we decided to start with this product and then step by step, bring in the follow-up components of the whole kit. Now, a question to Mr. Böhm. Let's go away a bit from storage. Who are the suppliers for the solar panels you need? Is Solarwatt cooperating with Meyer Burger Technology AG? Thank you, Mr. Secker. I would have thought you have no question to me at all, but this is one. Of course, we have a broad portfolio of suppliers. Only, by the way, I mean, this was not part of the question, but all suppliers we have are, of course, obliged to deliver in conformity to the compliance standards. That's very important these days. And in development, too, we work together with many companies, but in this case, with Meyer Burger, we don't have an explicit delivery contract, but could imagine a cooperation. What is first of all important is that Meyer Burger also gives us a product that is deliverable and can be installed. Mr. Froitzheim, I would like to add something to that. We also use the PERC technology. This is a long-established solar cell technology, and we are very convinced of this technology. The heterojunction technology others are using, this is a bit more exposed to corrosion and presumably also a bit more expensive. And this is why we would have to evaluate that more closely before we get into these new technologies. Right. I've got one more question to Mr. Böhm. We were just talking about this, in fact, a lack of skilled workers. Could that become a bottleneck for the installation of PV system that could be a threat to the build-out targets? Well, it's a fact today that the whole solar industry in Germany has at least one bottleneck, and this is the installation resources. This concerns our products in the same way like the competitors' products. And this is also one reason, of course, why we started to go into installation ourselves and to secure resources for installing our own products and also for having partners to build in our products. So we recognize this issue. However, the number of installers is of course, limited in the first place, but of course we do try to really secure the largest part of the resources we need, either directly through own teams in-house or by strengthening the teams of our installers and customers.
Just as the colleague said, this will definitely be a topic for the success of this energy transition. And if you look at this from a broader perspective, not just from Solarwatt's perspective, with our premium partner, with whom we have cooperating for many years, we developed a number of concepts how we try to counteract, at least for our company. Herr Böhm just mentioned one thing. We develop our own installation capacities, which we also make available to our premium partners, which is a highly innovative concept. And at the beginning, it had to be explained, but today, all our partners are 100% by our side, and they benefit from it. Together with our partners, we are looking for specialists. We do advertisements for cooperation, and we train teams of installers. We try to open up creative ways, always in coordination with our partners and always open and frank. But this, looking at Germany, it will be a real issue. Well, Herr Neuhaus, you are just here. Next question right to you from Frank Johansson from Automobilwoche. What is the role of your main shareholder, Stefan Quandt, for the cooperation with BMW? Did he open the doors for Solarwatt in Munich? Well, I already asked myself when the question would come, because this question is always asked, and this is absolutely okay, and we always say the same. This is absolutely ruled out that something like this happens. Herr Quandt is committed here. He believes to our company, to what we are doing, and he takes his social responsibility seriously. And as I assess it, this is a question you should ask Herr Quandt, but he would never, ever do something like this, already for governance reasons. And it's always a little annoying for us, this question, because this partnership, we worked hard for this partnership with BMW in a pitch many years ago. We won, we were successful, we documented that we are the best performers, and we time and again proved in our steps, and I hope the colleagues in Munich can confirm this, that our quality claim is high enough. We are proud of this, and we are also proud that we never needed Herr Quandt, and he would not have ever offered this from his own side. And then I have another question to Herr Zöbelein at BMW. We heard that the cell module, the battery flex storage module, is also installed in BMW battery electric cars. In which models, and how does BMW ensure compliance with environmental standards? The cell is installed in several models, preferably in smaller vehicles, especially in plug-in hybrids, but also in the Mini Cooper SE. It was already mentioned earlier. When it comes to sustainability and environmental standards, basically, it is a fact that sustainability has a very important role to play in our supply chains. It's one of our most important criteria. Suppliers can only cooperate with us if I meet our high quality standards. And in 2014, it became even more restrictive. And today, all our suppliers, our direct suppliers, must meet the social and environmental standards. This applies to all raw material issues that are relevant for a cell, and this is most important. It's not just about the supplier alone, it's also about the fact that the supplier must pass on these standards to its sub-suppliers. So we implement this topic right through to the mines, to the very beginning, as a precondition for warranting our high quality. Thank you, Herr Zübelein. And then we slowly come to the final lap. Could you please give us a price example for equipping, Herr Neuhaus, sorry. Could you please give us a price example of the equipping of a single-family home with a complete system, with PV, with storage, heat pump, and all that belongs to it? It's tricky. That's really tricky. Not because I don't know, but because there are so many variables to be considered. So let me start that way. It's always economically effective. Today, you can use PV as a system. You can no longer calculate it to its death. So for a normal single, what is normal for an average single-family home? Say 100, 120 square meters, 4,000 kilowatt hours, 5,000 kilowatt hours consumption. Without storage, Merdon, help me, something less than 10,000 euros. In the order of 1,500 euros per kilowatts peak. It's can also be achieved cheaper. It always depends. Do you need a scaffold? Do you have a bungalow? Do you have 3 levels? Then you will need scaffolds, and then it's more expensive. But in any case, less than 10,000. If you have storage, then you are in the order of 15,000, maybe a little less or more. But as I said, all this is always still economically effective. You never have a situation that over the course of the lifetime of this installation, a situation would arise where the end customer would pay. The opposite is true. We have very high economic efficiency rates. Then we have the part heat pump and the entire field of electric mobility, and the federal government also started and launched many aspects, and a lot remains to be done. Not everything has been missed. For the energy refurbishment of a housing, of a building, there will be an integrated approach where subsidies will be granted. We are not subsidy freaks, and some of you know that we always try to develop business models that are self-sustainable, but setting social standards to do the right, I think this is something I find absolutely okay, and it's okay if you think about fossil heat generators, just heat recovery boilers. This could also be considered whether it still makes sense to subsidize these, or instead we should subsidize the right things. Now, you have a cooperation with a heating system manufacturer. Could you give us a brief outline what it is about? This is obvious. It is about heat pumps. And I think heat pump technology is a super invention. Have always been a fan of heat pumps, not only since I have joined this company, and thus for a simple reason. If you have 4 kilowatt hours of oil energy, if you want to have this, you need 4.4 for this because you have losses, and you will only get the 4. In the case of a heat pump, it's quite easy. From 1 kilowatt hour, you can generate something between 3.5 and 4 kilowatt hours, depending on the caloric process. And this is already a sensation. And this explains why we get down from 15,000 kilowatt hours to a fraction, to just 1/4. Just by using a heat pump alone. So it goes towards heat pumps, and I can not imagine anything else in a single family house. The hydrogen topic, there are still so many open questions, beginning with the question how that you have to generate green electricity, and if you use PV to generate green electricity, to generate green hydrogen. So this would be too long. So slowly but surely we are coming to the end. I have one last question, Herr Neuhaus. So that we're just talking about this, what do you think about a solar obligation for new buildings or roof refurbishments as is currently planned in the climate package? I hope that this question wouldn't come, because I'm really annoyed by this question. I'm absolutely annoyed by this. I tried to explain that PV is so incredibly many arguments for the end customer, and if end customers understand this, because it's easy to understand, they are usually fascinated and say, I want to have this. We do not know this, that somebody or that anybody says this is nonsense, and I learned if somebody wants to have something, then you do not have to obligate him. But for 10 years we discussed with all the prevention argument, it's too expensive, it's not affordable, and at night we don't have sun, and there will be times without wind, and all this prevention narrative. this led to two things. On the one hand, we are under brutal time pressure, and on the other hand, large numbers of parts of the population feel insecure because it cannot be so fantastic as the PV people tell us if so many critical stories can be read in the papers and if important people like Mr. XY say at night we don't have sun. So we have the obligation. I'm absolutely against prohibitions and obligations unless they are absolutely necessary. In this case, I say I agree to this, but we need speed, and this will give us speed, but it will also cost us acceptance, because people rightly refuse to be obligated to do things, and therefore we hope that we can turn it into the positive. But we definitely need speed. Okay. Well, thank you to the gentleman here. Thank you to Munich. Thank you. Herr Ederer, thank you very much. This was the press conference of Solarwatt, and just one short note for the journalists who may still have questions. So whatever you have in terms of questions, please send them to questions@solarwatt.com, and we will send you our answers as quickly as possible. And I would like to thank you for your questions. It was a lot of fun. And have a nice day, and goodbye. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Bye.